It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, everyone. I am Ramona Ramirez. Margie, it's so good to see you.
So good to see you too. We've just cleared like 30 minutes of tech nightmares, so I feel really proud of us, and we
I
did
really
it.
do too. I do too. And this
Everything
is,
is so
yeah,
moody. Everyone thinks that like technology is so goddamn reliable. It's not. It's as moody as I
it's not.
am. So everyone can shut up. That's all.
It's
But we
not,
did it.
and it's so frustrating because I am not an audio engineer. I don't even know if I could play an audio engineer on TV, quite frankly. The shit I have had to self-teach myself with the exception of the times that I've done workshops with people that are experts, in order to edit my voiceover auditions that definitely help me, be able to edit our episodes. If shit goes wrong, like there's no one, I can't just go to Josh's office and be like, "Hey, shit won't go right on my computer. What do I do?" Because he's not doing this either. If I can't find a file, yeah, or if something keeps crapping out, he knows how to go to my utilities. Oh, actually, I know how to do that now, but it is so fucking frustrating how 9 times out of 10, it's just a matter of restarting your goddamn computer. And in the in the year of our Lord 2023, or some people's Lord's 2023, like, what am I supposed to do with this? And Mercury is not retrograde right now. It's not retrograde until I believe the second week of December. So the fact that all this technological shit is going down, we are discussing RHONY today. And maybe if we had Dante on our payroll, like Bryn has Dante on her payroll, we could dial up Dante and be like, Dante, WTF is up with the technology shit in our charts right now? Is something influencing shit with technology? Because right now, it's like I can no longer.
I mean, I have not been able to since like the age of like dial-up internet. I had a full panic attack when I went to college. That was the first time I got an email address, and immediately I like melted down because that meant you had to like go to the computer lab and like log in, and it was never as whatever.
It's never
Technology
as
is not my
easy.
forte. I feel like
Mm-mm.
technology has been put on the planet to make a fool of me, and it's working, but it's an endurance test, like
It
everything
is.
worthwhile, and we endured, and here we are, and, um,
Oh my God.
yes, we're here to recap the RHONY season finale,
Yes.
and we do get to what was his name? Derek? Darren?
His name was Dante. And
Dante.
let me tell you from the looks of I personally, I love getting a tarot reading. I believe it is pronounced technically, I believe it's pronounced tarot. And I know that it's so annoying sometimes to hear those people that pronounce shit the way it should be pronounced, like now my sister and I are all saying voodoo instead of voodoo because we went to the museum and we learned about the history of the word and how it morphed into the word voodoo that we know. And I just, I believe it's tarot, but I could be wrong, and I'm fine being wrong. So I'll say tarot/tarot. My point is,
I feel like
Dante.
Dante does tarot
You think
readings,
Dante
not
does tarot? Well,
tarot.
Dante also wears Comme des Garçons fucking cardigans when he does
Oh,
readings.
did he ever?
So
He
yes,
put his label
so
front and center for the camera. My goodness,
he
Dante.
he's making a healthy living reading tarot cards. And I personally love I do believe that there are people on the earth that are able to be dialed in to a realm that some people are not. And I hear people say, skeptics say often, well, yeah, but the things people get tarot card readings for are so universal and blah, 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 blah. I have not had that experience with someone that I didn't believe or that I thought was just blowing smoke. Mine have been straight up right on. It's been way too long since I've had a tarot reading, probably over a decade, but I was charmed.
I
And I
mean,
also was like, he's got a real expensive cardigan on.
he really
He's making
does.
a hefty living.
Yes, indeed.
which just goes to show everyone we're all searching for the answer as to why we have that pain, why we have that sore spot that is, knocking on the door or like scratching at the window for our attention. We all have those answers we're looking for, and questions and pain. Because I don't think that people would seek out tarot or psychics in general or therapy or whatever, the self-help book aisle. I don't think that any of us are looking for that unless there's a reason. And
100%.
you don't
Unfortunately,
yeah.
Bryn's reason was just like, "Can this all be resolved by my party tomorrow night?" I was like, "Oh, Bryn, okay. That's fine." But no, that's why I mean, I again, I've certainly done all of the things, tarot readings, and I was just thinking, like, whatever. I've been to an astrologist a number of times, and, like, all of these things I found very helpful, but everything is to remain right sized. It's not like I'm pulling myself out of reality. I'm
Yep.
just like asking for clarity, and sometimes it comes when you like roll through a stop sign and get a ticket and you're reminded to be more present. Sometimes it comes
Bruh.
with a tarot reading or a astrology session or a therapy session or whatever. It's just,
Exactly.
I'm just not going to limit myself to anything. I'll try
Mhm.
anything to
Mhm.
have a little more clarity, to move with a little more purpose through this life?
Exactly. And that's all we can do. But the fact that the fact that Dante can get those Comme des Garçons cardigans means that people are searching.
He
People are searching.
was put together. He was a
Yes.
sharp dressed man, his
100%.
glasses, everything.
Exactly.
He was, yeah,
I
he
loved it.
showed out for his moment on camera.
Mhm.
Then we have like a quick check in with Jenna at a photo shoot for her lash line. Boring. And then we get to, and we see Sai trying on a wig, going, "She's a vibe. She's a vibe." And I was like, "Uh
Yeah.
oh, I hate you."
Oh, I love wigs though.
I love a beauty supply store. When she walked
Oh
into
my
the beauty supply
god.
store, I was like, "Yes, let's
What
check it
is
out."
better? Sometimes I go to a beauty supply store and I'm like, "Bitch, why do you ever even bother going into an Ulta or a fucking CVS aisle when you can go to where it's literally floor to ceiling? You can get some flip-flops, you can get some earrings, you can get some root spray, you can get some lash glue. A beauty supply store is the fucking best."
It is the best. I love
Truly.
there's something like really soothing and satisfying about being in a space with like a product for everything. Any
Exactly.
part of you, skin, hair, lashes, nails, whatever. But we just have Sai trying on a wig and saying she's a vibe. And then we eventually move on to Ubah and Erin at Bumper Cars on Ice, which looked delightful. There are times when New York City is kind of like its own special, you know, amazing place. I never
I
did Bumper Cars on Ice, but it looked fun.
Did they have that when you were there too?
Not that I remember. I remember ice skating. I thought it was Bryant Park where we ice skated, but no, I don't remember seeing bumper cars. I feel like I remember those.
I That would be so fun, and my inner 5th grader, my inner 8 to 12-year-old, let's throw that span on there. The thought of doing bumper cars with Erin scared like, it really riled up that preteen dust. Like, oh, she would just come gunning for me in her bumper car and just like boom, boom, and I don't know, it stressed me out. Like, what do you I don't know.
I
Oh
mean,
god.
anything with Aaron seems
I
seems to suck
know.
the fun out of it. But I do love
Anyway,
Ubah. In fact, watching
me
the scene,
too.
I was trying to like do that thing where I was like, I love Ubah. Ubah loves Aaron. There must be something lovable about Aaron. So I'm going to try and find it. I don't
Oh, that's nice.
I didn't have success. I watched the whole episode and I was like, nope, 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 nope.
I did have one scene that Erin was in where I was like, "Oh, okay, but we'll get there. It's not
Okay.
now." Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, but
um,
I understood I understood what you were doing when you were going into that scene is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. I
oh, so
liked sorry, go
yes.
ahead.
No, please, you.
Just their conversation once they are done targeting bumper car number 12 and they get
Oh
off the
my
ice.
god, dude.
That felt so mean. I
Seriously.
would have
It
been
was so mean. I'm
I know,
telling
that poor
you.
guy was just there to like whatever. I appreciated that Uba defended Pavitt for saying that he appreciates a wife who is supportive of what he likes to do and lets him be him. It does seem like that is the goal if, with a long-term relationship, a love relationship,
Absolutely.
of marriage. And I got all up on my high horse when Ubah, her defense of, not her defense of being single, but her being fed up with people asking like, "Ah, you're such a catch. What's wrong?" That is, I still don't know how to articulate it. It truly is one of the most demoralizing questions a single person can be asked. It really does just make you, whether it's intended or not, it connotes failure, you know?
Mm,
It just
mhm.
sounds like, oh, it's, there's like pity attached to it. There's like, what's the matter? There's like, you're incomplete. And I appreciated Uba for being direct about like why that was some bullshit and why it's not
Yeah,
cool.
completely. I agree with you 100%. I loved that she said, I was watching Uba all last night, and Uba, the way she just kind of doesn't have any filler or bullshit, everything's very earnest, and she's just so lovely. I just love listening to her talk. I want her to narrate an audiobook for me just to listen to. Just she's so soothing and funny, and here I am like wishing I could just not be like, why is it gonna take me 5 minutes to explain what Uba could explain in 2? But she's just so fearless when it that's what it is. She's so fearless when it comes to setting a boundary or speaking her truth, and she doesn't seem like she's worried about how the other person is going to receive her, and she's just honest. She doesn't go, "Oh, hey, you know what, Erin? I love you, but I really think that you went a little too hard on Pavitt, and I wonder if you could see." She just speaks her truth, speaks it kindly, and how can you not how can you not be on board with that or just have it melt
Yeah.
your heart a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
I
And I again, they flash back to that the description, they flash back to last week when Pavitt gave the explanation about why he loves Jessel, and I found it to be completely appropriate and non-problematic. That's all you want is to be with someone that likes to do the same shit as you and loves you for the shit that you love to do, you know?
Well, and Aaron's expectation was so weird where she said like, you know, it's a time he has an audience to say something about his wife, like, "Oh, she's a lovely mother." And I'm like, what a weird thing to
Yeah.
like, he was just honest about what he loves about her, which is, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just Aaron, I still can't put my finger on it, but something about her feels so false to me and it really bothers me. And I don't know what it is, but I look forward to, within the next 5 years, something being exposed.
I just look forward to the reunion to see what happens with that, but
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think that she got what she came for with this
No,
show.
but that's what, again, why I love reality TV is she came on
Mhm.
expecting to present in a particular way and
Mhm,
she was
mhm,
received very differently. So too
mhm,
bad, Aaron.
mhm.
I loved Uba
Um,
saying, "I haven't met my Abe, I haven't met my Prophet, I haven't met my David. I'm just happy being me." And
yeah.
it reminds me, my sister always says happiness is a discipline, and that's true. Like, it's not easy to be happy being
Oh.
me, especially in the face of people like, was it David? Is that who it was? Yeah, Sai's husband? Yeah, it
Yes.
was David who came at her. It's hard to remember to be, like, happy to be you when other people are like, "Oh, but you can't be happy because you don't have a man. You've done
Yeah.
everything right, you're so successful, but you're missing this major piece," and it's like, "Ugh, don't do that."
I mean, whether Uba is single or not, I'd rather be Uba than be Aaron. I'd
Oh,
rather be Uba than be
100%,
Sai.
100%. Oh
Yeah.
my god, Sai is so angry, oh my god.
And it's like, I don't even I mean, as someone who can be angry, like, it's not even her anger that bothers me, it's her oh, we're jumping all over, but that's okay. And this could be a lack of compassion she has for herself, but she just can't have compassion for anybody else.
No, she's
Yeah.
impatient with everyone,
Yeah.
and she's just dug in. All of her facts are wrong. Like, everything she's
Mhm.
fighting about, her information is wrong. And it's such stupid shit that she's fighting about. Who cares what date
Yeah.
Pavitt said he was gonna travel, but she is so dug in
Oh,
and
I
yelling.
know. I know, it's so weird.
It is so
I
weird.
I take it for granted that not everybody finds a way to heal from growing up with a mentally ill and or severely alcoholic parent. Unless a lot of lot of work is invested in that, it's going to affect the way you behave until you leave this mortal coil. And I don't know any of her history with what she's done to help herself heal from her relationship with her mother. And I will extend her a lot of grace. I'm projecting onto her, but I will say that anger is a much more powerful emotion. There's much more power in anger than there is in sadness. Sadness just kind of makes me feel depleted, but anger, it literally feels like I have a fire in me and I can access power through anger. And I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm just saying that's the nature of anger, which is why for years and years, my default would be to react to something with anger, but the fear and the sadness were always like right underneath it. But now I know that unhealthy anger won't serve me. And we're watching that right now. But I have compassion for Sai. It's just that she has that hard exterior and it does not serve well. It'll be done serving her when she feels like it's done serving her,
Yeah.
And it's just a reminder to me, like, okay, I don't want to be like that. It might feel more empowering to act out of anger than it does out of sadness or fear, but it's not going to feel good in the long run.
No,
I
I
hope
mean,
that made sense.
it does make total sense. I One of my visits to this astrologist that I see years ago, she said to me, like, "I want your mantra to be, I'm softening, I'm softening, I'm
Oh.
softening," because I was so mad about so
Mhm.
many things, and I just kept thinking that when I was looking at Sai, I'm like, "I wish you would just soften," because it's all she's lashing out externally everywhere. Everyone
Yeah.
else is the fucking problem, and it's such a huge deal how little things become a huge deal, and I wonder if she will hit a break point with her own anger unmanageability. Mostly I think about her kids. For whatever reason, I went on Instagram to, like, look at her feed, and her kids are so adorable.
They're adorable.
She has, like, oh my god, that little boy is so freaking cute. I just hope she gets her anger for their sake, I hope, because whether
Yeah.
or not she directs it at them,
Mhm.
having had a rageful parent, you internalize it. The energy is
Mhm.
yours, whether or not they're yelling at you, which they often
Mhm.
do, but
Mhm.
they're just so dang cute. Anyways, speaking of Psy, we wind up in Central Park with Bryn and Psy. This was sort of a lovely New York City episode from Bryant
100%.
Park to Central Park. I was like, oh my God, they had all those like hero shots of Central Park that are so beautiful. Like you
So
forget,
beautiful.
or I
Yeah,
forget, the architecture is incredible. It's amazing. They built a park in the middle of like a ridiculous city. It's a beautiful spot.
gorgeous.
Yeah. And this scene was the beginning of a whiplash for me. So it's Bryn and Sai explaining in her confessional, like, we have a bond, like a special kind of friendship that other people can't understand. And then 45 minutes later, she's like, I never want to talk to Bryn again. And we end the episode with the information that Sai has invited everyone to her upstate New York house except Bryn. And I was like, oh my God, you are on such a hair trigger, ma'am. You literally say that like your stories are so similar that this is a bond that can't be explained or broken. And then 40 minutes later, you're like, she's dead to me. I do not know
She's
that
dead to you
bitch.
because she's a mirror, my friend.
No
She's dead to
shoot.
you. She's dead to you because she's a mirror, my friend Sai.
Yeah.
It's the ones that trigger us the most that have the most to teach us.
I think Sai is mad at herself and she's trying to blame everyone else, but there's no there. So you have to cut those people out. You have to blame them and then get rid of them. Otherwise, you'll have to face, a conversation about like, why are you really mad? And
Ay,
she's in
ay,
no place
ay.
to do that yet. Am I making sense? I took some cold medicine before
Absolutely.
this, and suddenly
No,
I'm like, I can't tell
no.
if I'm putting all of my sentences together,
You're
but
absolutely making
get
making
it.
so much sense to me. Mhm, mhm.
Well, we get Bryn chooses a tree to honor Mimi, and I don't know. I have nothing else to say about this scene.
I loved how emotionally invested Brynn was. I really believe that Brynn is such a genuine person. I thought this was so sweet, and it was just the only note I have is what a stark contrast the earnest conservatory staff had to the reality stars.
I love that though. I
I
mean,
did too, I loved it.
this is why a New York Housewives is something really special because the people they do
Exactly.
interact with are there nobody in New York City is regular, but this
Yeah,
guy was like, I loved him. He cared so much. He was so proud of his little like data
I
thing where you could
know.
pick your purple tree and I loved
I
it.
love that, and then the minute she was like, "Willow," he's like, "Oh, okay." Like, that
I
was easy,
know.
you know? Yeah, I thought it was darling. A really darling scene.
And then we're at Jenna's with the Jessel doing a photo shoot for I guess this is her line of clothing and accessories. Is that what's going on?
It is I believe it is a line of she's opening a website that is featuring artists from India and the Middle East,
Oh, that's cool.
artisans, yeah, for clothing and jewelry, and I was just so thrilled to be back in Ms. Lyon's apartment one more time to be able to have both Ubah offering her years of expertise and Jenna walking through and just with a few well-chosen words, changing and morphing the shoot into something that, unless you're Jenna Lyons, how do you know how to do that? I was just so thrilled for Jessel that she got to do it. And it was a nice moment. I mean, even Ubah wasn't even, she made the joke about walking up all those stairs, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in her heels, but she wasn't like pissed about it. She was just like rolling it off. She's not going to be thinking about it later. Maybe if she's sore the next day, she'll be like, oh, I had to walk up all these stairs to go to a friend's house. But I just loved watching Ubah and Jessel catch up with each other. And I really
Yeah.
like, I really like Ubah. I love her
I
so
do
much.
think Uba is yeah, she is to me, she's like the moral center of this group, if there
Totally.
could be such a
Hmm.
thing. Because when she and Jessel are chatting after the photo shoot, by the way, that model was gorgeous.
Stunning. The whole
Holy
shoot was
crap.
just, yeah.
Oh my god, she was so beautiful. But they're talking after the shoot, and Uba talks about she's saying that I don't come at people's husbands and children, and she says weak people fight that way, and I was like,
Ooh,
yes.
that is
But she
what,
didn't say it
yes.
mean. She just said weak people
No.
fight that way. It's just like a very plain statement of fact, and I was like, agree, agree.
Yeah. And, yes, see that in her little succinct, "Weak people fight that way." 5 letters, a
Yeah,
five-letter sentence.
I think
She
she was talking
said,
about Erin. Again, my cold medicine is erasing some of my brain, but I
"Gee,
think
excuse
bless
me.
you. Uh oh.
I am so sorry." I know.
Oh, I'm giving you a cold through.
No, you're not giving me a cold. It's just allergies. But, yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that other than Ubah is, you know, maybe I can try to be like Ubah.
I know. She's
And I don't wanna
amazing.
be a weak person, not that there's anything with being showing okay, and I know she didn't mean weak as in oh, shit. See, now I'm gonna have to try to form a thought about where I was gonna go off on, but you know what I'm saying. I
I
know
know
what she
exactly what you're
means.
saying, and she wasn't
Yeah.
saying no, but I think she's right. It's a coward that chooses
It's
to attack.
low-hanging fruit and it's easy.
And it's just not the point. If you're
It's
mad
not
at
the
someone,
point.
be mad at someone, not at their kids or their spouse or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
figure it out. And then we go to Cy and Aaron at the stupid Halloween store shopping for Venetian masks for Bryn's birthday party. I don't know. I just dislike these two so much. They set up their pet parrot thing. Sai somehow manages to be offended by Jessel calling her a mean girl when all she is a mean girl. Like she literally says, she's like, am I abrasive? Am I rude? Are my words harsh and terrible? Could I work on that? Sure. But I'm not a mean girl. I'm like, you literally just defined mean girl
Yeah,
and then tried
yeah.
to walk it back. You're awful. Yeah.
Yes. So this was the scene where I did have a little bit of a heart opening for Erin because she did say, she was relaying to Sai what Ubah had shared with her about how what David's comments at Swingers, how they made Ubah feel. And I felt like the way she came into it was very gentle. The way she broached the conversation was gentle and compassionate. And she was I could feel the effort she was putting in to initiating that conversation with Sai where they could have a discussion about it and not put Sai on the defensive. And that so yes, I admit I had a little bit of grace for Erin.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, this is just where Sai is rotten to the core because
Mhm.
Erin says this and Sai is immediately defensive. She says, "Well, what he meant was," and it's like, "Don't do that. Just take the
Yeah,
note.
exactly.
Listen. Just listen."
Mhm.
And then Erin is like, "Well, she was offended." And Sai says, "Okay. Okay, but she's fine," which is dismissive. And then she says she's very happy, which is dismissive and verging on divulging information that is not her business to give. And then she just says it. She's dating
Yep.
someone. And in my opinion, Sai said that to hurt Erin. So Sai's feelings were hurt because her husband hurt Ubah. And so she wanted Erin to feel like shit too. And so she said this thing, she divulged this piece of information that will eventually hurt Ubah. But in the meantime, it shuts Erin up because she knows that Erin will feel bad that Ubah didn't tell Erin that she's dating someone. It's
Dude.
so fucking, and I don't think Sai's conscious of it, but to me, I was just like, you feel bad. And so you're going to make everyone around you feel bad. And congratulations. How's that working for you?
If when when she said when she did the, "Oh, she's fine. She's fine. She's happy." To me, it feels like when you tell a kid who tripped and fell and they're crying and they're probably scared, and I'm sure there is some pain on the knee or maybe there's a legitimate scrape. But, when I see parents say, "Oh, you're fine, you're fine, you're okay, you're okay," I logically, I understand where that impetus is coming from. You want to calm your child. It is not okay, whether you're trying to comfort an adult or a child, to immediately gloss over the feelings they are expressing to you. It is so important to acknowledge, at the very least, what you're being told and then validate it if you can. That goes such a long way. But yes, this was pure defensiveness. And the fineness, the fact that Uba is fine, is completely irrelevant. You just said the same thing. So, yeah, it, mm, the feelings, acknowledging feelings is essential.
Yeah. Well, and yeah. And Sai took it to another level of like in her confessional, she claims to feel awful about having broken Uba's confidence. But I don't, she didn't, if I had done that and felt that way about it, if I had divulged some secret about your life that you'd asked me not to talk about, I would have immediately called you and said, like, I am so sorry. This came out of my mouth. I know you trust me with this piece of information. I only told this much, but just so you know, I fucked up. But instead, Sai goes to lunch with, or goes to dinner or whatever with Erin and Bryn and spills the whole story off
Jesus
camera.
Christ.
But still, if you actually felt bad and were feeling guilty about like having unlocked the vault that you promised to keep that information in, also, can we just like not no more vaults with Real Housewives? I can't take it anymore after Orange County and
Jesus
this.
Christ. I
Just no
know.
more
I
vaults.
know.
But
They
instead
don't mean
of, if you
anything
actually
anymore.
felt
Yeah.
bad, you wouldn't have gone to lunch and like spilled it all. You're a monster, Sai. I
I
don't trust you.
it
I
was
don't like you. You're
so
mean.
I was so disappointed. I was disappointed in the people that wanted the information, and I was disappointed that Sai shared it. I mean, obviously, we're referring to the very end of the episode at Bryn's party. It was she knew not to say anything, but
But
her
she's so
perception that
selfish.
right,
In that moment, she wanted to hurt Aaron more than she wanted to protect Uba. And so she used that information and it was shitty.
and she wanted to defend David because it just,
Which
it's
is just like people can make mistakes. And yeah, and
exactly,
we'll get there. But David was lovely
exactly.
about
He
it.
was
God damn
so
it.
great about it.
In fact, I thought about you because last time we talked about the show, I was like, I think I hate David. And you were like, he seems fine. And then in this episode, I was like, Ramona's right. Like, he's lovely. He really is like
He that
grounded and sweet and totally rational and charming. So fine.
and no matter what Uba said or how many times she said it, he was like, "You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
You're totally right." And I really do believe well, I also think he has a little bit of a crush. I think he's very sweet on her. I think he's very sweet on Uba. I think he's completely, utterly
How
charmed.
wouldn't be?
How
I
could
just
you
feel
not be,
like,
right?
yeah,
Exactly.
she's such a doll.
But
And I
yes,
think he
that was
really
a
did feel
great
badly about hurting her in
Mhm,
particular because she
mhm,
is such
mhm.
a genuine human being.
Exactly.
And then we head into our little getting ready for the party montage where Ubah FaceTimes with her niece, which I thought was so cute.
So cute.
I loved that. And of course, every look Ubah pulled out was like spectacular, something no one else could wear. And,
I know.
just so
I so
breezy for
badly
her.
wanted to see the black dress. Well, I wanted to see both dress, but the black dress with the shoulder
Yeah.
ornamentation. Oh my god. Oh, I was dying to see that. And
And
I
then we
thought it
have,
was
oh,
really adorable and also very healthy when her niece said, "Yeah, but it's Bryn's birthday party." And Uba said, "Bryn won't care." It's true. Someone like Bryn will be so stoked if you show up dressed to the nines in the most amazing thing, outlandish thing in your closet. She would just champion that for you. And I don't know. I can't ever imagine Uba offending me by walking in somewhere where I'm supposed to be the center of attention, but she comes in wearing either one of those gorgeous dresses. I would just be like, please let me admire you for just 10 seconds. Look at this. I would probably call people over. Do you see this dress? Look at this dress. Are you kidding me with this dress? Like, yeah.
also
Anyway,
anything
point
Ubah
made.
wears. If she showed up in like a J. Crew shift dress, she'd still like
Meh.
steal the show. She's just such a, yeah, she's just stunning.
Stunning.
And then we
Inside,
go,
though,
oh, yeah.
inside, she's stunning,
Oh
and
my God, yeah.
that's why she's so luminous. Take note, literally everybody. Anyway, on this cast.
Then we go to the other side of the spectrum where like boring Erin fixes Abe's hair and they have like the most benign, boring exchange about a tux with or without a bow tie. I do not want to be in that marriage. It just seems like the boringest.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
And then we
mm-mm.
go to Jenna with her son, Beckett. This was his first time appearing on camera. Yeah or no?
I don't think so. I think he went with her to the glasses store last week.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hadn't
yeah.
been paying close enough
And I think
attention.
he made an appearance when they were decorating the tree earlier in the season, because I believe, just from looking at signs, that Sai walked by on the way into the costume shop. I believe it's around Valentine's Day that this episode takes place, or
That would
getting
make
ready
sense.
to, like, leading up to Valentine's Day or
That would make
something.
sense because
Yeah.
Pavitt was supposed to travel on February 9th or
Oh,
whatever,
that's
as we
right.
find out
That's right.
later. Who gives a shit?
Oh my god.
I just wrote down for Beckett, I wrote Brooks Marks wishes. Like, this is who
Oh,
Brooks Marks wants to be. I don't know why. He's like,
accurate.
he is, Beckett is weirdly like too much and just enough. And I love his relationship with Jenna and I love how proud she is of him. Like, I just
Yeah.
found that whole, I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. Clothes like that make no sense to me, but I just love watching them like interact. I thought they were
I
cute.
loved it that she's like, "It's Celine," and he's like, "I don't give a shit if it's the fucking Gap. What is this outfit?" You
He
know?
said it's wacky, which is
Yeah,
like such an insane thing to say about like
yeah.
designer clothes, but like when you're Becca, you can do that.
I love it. I love it.
In
Out
his
of the
like
mouths of
satin
babes.
jacket, like his like casual Saturday afternoon satin jacket and white
Loved
pants,
it.
like whatever.
Loved it.
Amazing. But then we go to Jessel and Pavitt. Jessel has lost her voice, her body is shutting down. And they just sort of talk about how she may or may not deal with everyone at Bryn's party. And I did love her saying, Erin can sit in her sad little Tribeca corner and obsess about our lives.
I mean, it really does feel like they are honing in on Jessel, and I'd be a liar if I was to say I haven't experienced this, where I've just been really offended by someone's behavior that's been in my peripheral friend group or just in my social circle, and, have to bring up something over and over. But I also have gotten to the point where I don't take myself seriously anymore. But it feels like, you know, Jessel is really living in Aaron and Sai's head rent free, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't see Aaron opening up about shit. Pavitt isn't lying. Do you know that there is an entire vernacular and world about miles and points and tickets that people that don't have those kinds of miles just don't understand, and I want to become fluent in it because I just feel like it would be something interesting to understand when I book flights. And I'm also a massive control freak, and I think it would help me with my travel anxiety. But this is, nothing Pavitt said was odd. And I have talked to multiple people about if they had the opportunity to fly first class anywhere, would they do it? They'd be like, "Fuck yes." Like, even my husband, who hates fucking traveling, he hates it all. He even would be on board with being in a fucking pod, first class, stretched out, someone waiting on you. Oh, like,
Well, and
Pavitt is
honestly,
not a weirdo for wanting to do this.
no, and I was thinking more about it because to me, the 24-hour thing freaked me out, but then I was like, "But then you don't have to pack. You don't have to bring
Yeah,
shit. You just sit in a chair and have someone bring you caviar and champagne, and then you sit in a chair and have someone bring you caviar and champagne on the way home. Like,
exactly,
you don't have to bring
exactly.
clothes, you don't have to think about anything." Anyways, yeah, no, I think Sai and Erin have chosen a target. They picked Jessel, and I love Jessel for going through this season, earnestly making an effort with them, and then by this episode, she's done. The emperor has no clothes. She's like, these women just suck. And I've tried everything I know to
Yeah,
do, and there is no there there. And so, yeah, I'm not going to like beg anymore. And I thought Pavitt lost me at the end of the episode. But at this moment, when he said, when he wondered if they are projecting their own unhappiness in their marriages onto a marriage that is perfectly healthy, I think there may be something there. And I look forward to seeing that play out in future seasons.
yeah.
So,
I'm really glad that there seems to be more conversation about what may have led to their, supposed dry spell in the sexual part of their relationship. She had a very traumatic birth and her twins are young, but they seem to really like spending time together. And Jessel has come a long way since we first saw her kind of act in a way that wasn't very gracious to what I'm sure was a $400 chemise lingerie that Jenna gave her at Erin's house in the Hamptons earlier in the
right.
season. Like, I barely remember who that Jessel is. I just
Yeah.
really I really I like Pavitt. I know what you're talking about, though, with the end of the episode. We'll get there, but yes, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. He's
Listen,
imperfect, but at this moment, I thought he was, again, it takes, there's someone who must have been in therapy to even consider the possibility that, like, the notion of projection is not something that you just like naturally come across unless you've done some work on
yeah,
yourself, whether therapy or reading or like anything.
I was really glad. Do you have anything else to add about that before
No.
we go into the party?
Party
I was
time.
so glad to not have another fucking Great Gatsby party. I never need to see another Great Gatsby party on any franchise of the Housewives ever again. So,
It
Venetian
was really
masks,
close,
masquerade,
but
whatever.
was it a masquerade party? Because everyone, like, spent all this time buying and
I know.
putting on masks, and then they walked in the door and they were like, "Bye, forget it."
It
I mean,
was
I
really
do think
strange.
it is, but it's also, like, to me, what an annoying party to wear a mask. Because then, like, how can you eat and talk and drink and, like, I don't know. I thought it was a strange choice that Bryn made, but yes, better than Gatsby, so fine. And this was another, like, little New York moment where I was like, "Oh, New York City," because I thought that restaurant was, like, tragic. It bummed me out so bad, like, the ceilings were so low and it's small, and I was like, "Well, that's New York City, Margie. You get, like, big parks and tiny restaurants, and that's
Yeah.
just that them's the
All I
breaks in New
saw with
York
all the
City."
balloons was just, like, all this plastic that's gonna go in the landfill. Like, it looked so pretty, but, like, oh god, balloons
Did
kill
it even
me.
look that pretty? It just looked, like, crowded, and I felt, like, claustrophobic. I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't understand why this is more festive than just, like, some flowers," but that's just me. And it's her 29th birthday? Is that what it
No.
was?
No, I
Oh.
think she's 37.
Oh, okay.
I think
Oh,
that
I
was just a
believed it.
joke. Yeah,
Oh
maybe she
god.
turned
What an
38, I'm not
idiot.
sure. Yeah.
That sounds more reasonable.
You're not an
Um,
idiot. There was a joke made.
Bryn tells Sai that her mask looks like the McDonald's bandit, which was just the first of McDonald's references this evening. And then I don't know, Bryn, this whole party scene for me, I felt like everybody's worst characteristics came to the forefront in the scene. Like Bryn is flirting with Dave and Abe, which is like kind of gross, and then David is saying, "Oh, all of my good friends are happily married." So we're right back to like, you
Yeah,
need a husband.
exactly.
And I was like, oh man. Yeah. And Bryn's invitation saying, like, bring who you last had sex with or who you want to have sex with. I was like, can we just like dial it back a tiny bit? And then she kisses Jenna. I don't know. It all
Yeah,
just felt like a big production, which it was, so that's fine.
true, true. We already talked a little bit about David and Ubah having their conversation, but yeah, I have nothing to add on that other than I was proud of him for mea culpaing the way he did. It
Yeah, and
felt
I
like,
love she is a great example too of instead of being like, "It's okay," she said, "Make this a teachable moment. I'm good, but,
oh,
it's not okay." And so she didn't say
yeah,
it was okay. She said, "Let's
yeah.
learn from this and move on," and I love that.
Oh my God, to have Ubah's self-esteem.
Truly.
Yeah.
And then we get Mean Girl Central. Everyone's, Jessel's a little late, and so Erin and Sai, whatever. Everyone's just talking shit about her. And is this when was Bryn saying that she's camouflage? Like, I don't understand. That someone Bryn
I
was
think
saying you
what
wouldn't even notice if Jessel was here because she's camouflaged to you. And I was like, I don't even know what this means, but I do know that it's mean spirited. And like, fuck you guys. Bryn, it's your party. If you think she's that lame, don't invite her. I don't
I
know.
thought that what Bryn meant by that, and I could be totally wrong because sometimes when it's the groups, I can't put the pieces of yarn together between the push pins, you know? It just doesn't make sense, but what I thought she was saying is, listen, don't let her get under your skin, let her just fade into the background, you just try to enjoy yourself. I could be 100% wrong. That could just be my brain trying to make me understand something that I couldn't understand so I can
I
participate in the conversation.
literally, I have no idea. All I know is that Jessel enters and she approaches Aaron and Sai, who just glare at her. And she does say hello, and then but it's not kind. And so Jessel politely walks away to go greet the next group of people. And Aaron gets all pissy and is like, no warm hug, hello. And it's like, you get what you give, you monster. You just
I
stood there with your
was
fucking nose in the air and now you're expecting a hug? Like, no.
it is so easy to tell. At least it is for me. I would say it probably is for you, as children of alcoholics are always often very hypervigilant. And I wouldn't call it a superpower. I would call it a coping power. But, you know, your gut knows when someone's been talking shit about you right when you walk up to them. But for Aaron to feign being offended, listen, I don't want to fucking hug a snake. I'm not going to hug a snake. The snake's going to bite me or it's going to constrict me and crush my bones. Why would I? And they are so bothered by the fact that she is finally just like, you know what? You guys don't want to talk to me or you want to be mean to me? Fuck all the way off. I'm going to go get a goddamn French 75. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I love that, Aaron goes over to say hi to Jessel, claiming Jessel didn't say hi, and then they immediately roll footage of Jessel saying hi 10 seconds before. And Jessel is in such a power position now because she, like you said, she's just done with like trying to please these people. And so she is Sai is trying to antagonize her. Erin is trying to antagonize her. And she's just saying, like, I don't need to be your friend, Sai. I don't need that either. And Sai is like, oh, like she can't even
Yeah.
believe that these words are coming out of her mouth.
Like, why, if you're going to talk so much shit and say that she's such a liar and she doesn't open up and she's trying to compare her uncle to my mom, yada, yada, like, why do you give a shit if she's not coming up to talk to you? You should be relieved, you know? Which is
Truly.
just, it's just, they just wanted to pile on in the last few
Well, and
weeks.
they just,
And,
Sai especially needs someone to be mad at.
mm,
Because Sai is the one who says, like, "I just don't wanna be your best friend," and Jessel's like, "Cool, I don't wanna be your best friend either. We're good." And then Sai goes like, "Yeah, I never said we weren't good."
oh
And
my
Jessel's
God.
like, "Okay,
You
okay,
said so many
bye."
times in so
Like,
many words,
why are you still
literally.
trying to engage? Like, if you don't wanna be your best friend and you don't care, just, like, let it go. Why are you screaming?
Oh, Jesus
Crazy.
Christ.
And then we have
Uh,
Aaron and Jessel talking.
yes.
Ay, ay, ay. This whole but
Yeah.
then this got confusing too because Aaron calls her out for keeping a notebook of whatever.
What people say.
Yes.
You
And
know,
then Jessel goes like,
yeah.
"That's psycho. I would never." And I was like, "Uh-uh," but you fully did. Why are you denying that?
Margie, I'm going to go on the record and say I would rather hang out with Heather Dubrow than Aaron.
Jesus, I might too. I mean, they're both awful,
I
but
would.
Erin is
I
so
would. That is something I never thought I would say, but I think I like Heather more.
oh,
Yeah.
that is yeah.
I know. Can you imagine what it feels like to have to say that? Can
No,
you
but, like,
imagine how much I don't have to like someone to wanna hang out with Heather Dubrow?
it says
More.
everything.
Exactly!
But this
Christ.
this is where Bryn lost me in this moment because I think it was Bryn who was saying, like, to Jessel, like, "You're not upset enough." And Jessel said, "Nothing is worth getting mad enough," you know? And I was like, "Oh, that's so true, like, good for you."
Yeah.
And then this I hated Bryn because she follows that with saying, "You think standing up for yourself is ratchet." And I was like, "No, Bryn, there's a way to stand up for yourself, which is exactly what Jessel is doing right now, which is knowing who you are, what you care about, what you value, and moving through the world with that as your guide. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean getting in someone's face. It doesn't mean being yelly and cruel and like that. That's, in my opinion, that's ratchet. That's the ratchet way to stand up for yourself is to engage with an asshole. If you identify an asshole as Jessel has, walk away.
Mhm.
There's nothing to yell
Mhm.
about. You're not in a conversation with anyone who cares to make forward progress. They just want to fight. And Jessel's rightly identified that in Erin and Sai. And so she's just like moving on. I did not like Bryn for saying that. I thought that was
Bryn
yucky.
really lost me in this finale.
Yeah, for sure.
It was really strange. Uh, listen, if I was Jessel, I would have fucking ran for president in that dress. I would have that dress would have made me feel like Maleficent from fucking Sleeping Beauty. That dress was stunning.
Yeah,
It
she
was such
looked
a
beautiful.
god. Oh, I love that dress so much. But yeah, it was not it
And then we
was
move
not
into the
good.
party game of the night, which was
Oh
such a
god.
just such a forced choice of Bryn that she learned at her, like, what was it, yoga teacher training, and I was like, "Of course." But the game is everyone airs their grievance and leaves it there, which is just, like, not how anything works. So Bryn she did not need to do this either. She called out Pavitt for saying Sai was bipolar, which is just unnecessarily poking the bear because he did take it back, and I believed him when he took it back.
I did
I
too.
don't
I
think
did
that
too.
everyone knows until they've said it how damning that shit is, and Pavitt seemed to realize that that was a bridge too far, and he sincerely took it back, so that was just mean, but I also was mad at Sai for being so defensive about bipolar disorder because it perpetuates the stigma, and she says, you know, "My mother had it," and she I don't know. Have you seen that there's like a it's from I Think You Should Leave, the sketch show with, Tim Robinson, where there's just a little segment that's pulled out in social media everywhere where he just goes, "You sure? You sure about that?" So in Sai's like, "I don't have it," and in my brain, I was like, "You sure about that? Because your mom did," and I'm not saying it as, like, anything mean, but, like, don't so firmly put your foot down and say, "I do not have it." I don't know, there was something about it that just felt like it absolutely made every stigma about bipolar disorder worse. You made it seem like an insult, and it's not, it's a diagnosis, you fucking bitch.
Exactly.
If someone had
Exactly.
asthma, you wouldn't be like you wouldn't behave like this. You'd get curious if you had asthma, and you'd go to the fucking doctor and find out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Psy made it worse.
It was it was really it was hard. It was really hard because never ever ever should a mental health diagnosis be thrown out as a put down or as a joke. We've definitely I'm hoping have come far enough in society to know that that is really so damaging and wrong on so many levels. I also agree that I think that Pavitt was sincere in his apology. And I see what you're saying. It felt like Sai was saying my mother was, but I'm not. There's nothing wrong with it if you are. But it is
Mhm.
precisely because of what Pavitt said earlier that people probably feel the need to say, I'm not, like that has been such a thing to throw around at people. And it's just so gross. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was also gross that after Pavitt rescinded calling her bipolar, he then called Psy a bitch. And then
Yeah.
he doubled down in his confessional and said, if I called her a bitch, she's probably a bitch. And I was like, please don't call anyone a bitch,
Don't
sir.
call anyone a
I don't care
bitch.
for
I
Sai
know.
either, but like,
I mean,
yikes.
asshole is gender neutral and,
Or
you know,
just don't. Just leave it
yeah.
alone, sir.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Exactly.
just say, I don't like how she treats my wife. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a delicate spot. And he barely came out of bipolar unscathed. And then he just like walked right back into the
Right.
fire like a
Right.
dummy.
Agreed. Agreed.
And then this
Um
is where Sai starts screaming. I guess this is where the facts about Pavit's travel are now at issue, and Sai is screaming and yelling, and God bless Jessel totally calmly says, "Don't raise your fucking voice." And Sai is like, "Well, I have to yell if you're not gonna comprehend." And I was like, "Sai, do you hear what you're saying?
I
You
mean,
sound
I
that's wrong. That's just
yeah.
wrong. It's wrong-headed."
I think I said this last week, like I have yeah, because of Emily Simpson on Orange County last week. I can totally relate to that, wanting to scream your head off because it feels like you're not getting through. I also know that it's not anything I need to be doing.
And it's just not relevant,
Yeah.
and I love Ubah for being like, Sai is saying, "Well, she lies. She lied about his travel." And Ubah's like, "What lie? What lie? Like, who cares? It just is
Who
not."
cares?
And then again, I guess because everyone's drunk, suddenly Erin and Sai are screaming about pet parrot. I don't know. To me, this is where all of my strings of yarn got tied in a big knot. And I was
Oh,
like, what is
100%.
even happening at this party anymore? I'm lost.
I don't know if what part of the party did Jenna say not opening up unless there's a safe landing pad? I often refer to a safe place to land, as how I want to conduct myself in my marriage, how I want to conduct myself as a mother, how I want to conduct myself as a friend. My ultimate goal is to be a harbor of safety and love and softness and trust. And she said that she's feeling safer with this group. And I wrote, okay, because I don't know that you should be feeling safe with this group as a whole. Maybe individuals, sure. But
The only thing ahead of that I thought was notable, again, like Jessel is sort of my hero of this episode. So when she had a conversation with David and she was like, "Can you make your wife like me again? Like, I don't understand what's going wrong." And she admits, she has a hard time opening up when he says she just wants to know you. And then in Jessel's confessional, she says, "Look, I'm not going to beg and plead for anyone's friendship." And then she makes a weird Q-tip analogy. But I appreciated her just the steadiness of saying, like, I'm not chasing friends. So I've tried. It's clear there's nowhere to go with Sai. So, you know, she's not going to beg and plead. And I like that. And then
totally.
Erin emerges as the stupid pet parrot, which was like, this is the part where I was like, I think I would rather hang out with Heather Dubrow. It's not
Right.
funny. You're not hilarious. Jenna called it brilliant. And then I was like, now I don't
I
trust you,
know. It's
Jenna.
like questioning her. Right.
Nothing is funny. That's not brilliant. It's stupid. And then Uba says something, I don't know why, but I liked it. She says, I'm happy and I'm going to enjoy the journey. I don't care how fast I get to my
Oh my
destination. And I was like,
God.
oh
I
my
loved
God.
it so
Just
much.
need a little coffee table book of quotes from Uva because
I
they're so,
know. The Daily Ubah.
yeah. And then we have the Nancy Drew cake, which appears to
I
be for Jenna's benefit. She brought it up to Jenna and she was like, "Did you see? It's like
I don't
I
know.
think they've
Oh
I don't
God,
who
did I miss
knows."
that?
No, I mean it's not even that big a deal. It's just like Bryn cannot do one thing without flirting.
Got
It's
it.
like
Got
her
it.
birthday cake comes out and she's like, "Jenna, did you see? It's our favorite. I did this
Oh,
for
because they both
us."
like
And I was like,
Nancy Drew.
"Okay,
Got
yeah."
it. Got it. I loved the fact that Bryn saved the group from danger by saying, "No, no, no, you cannot mix helium and fucking fire." Like, everyone stopped trying to light the balloon, like, trying to pop the balloons with the sparkler.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing, and that, like, low ceiling restaurant
Oh my
just sort of
god.
burst into flames.
And then to tack on something, just what I've learned in therapy as far as Bryn choosing the Nancy Drew cake and describing how she'll still read it as an adult. It's a fast read and it makes her feel good. I don't know if this is shared with people that did not grow up in traumatic and dysfunctional environments. I would think that wanting nostalgia is probably pretty universal, but this is why I say I'm not a Disney adult, but I love Disneyland. It is like my happy place. It is my nostalgia place. It is where my inner child feels very free. And so Disneyland is my Nancy Drew book, you know? Nostalgia
Totally.
is important when you want to cling to some sort of happy childhood memory,
Yeah.
a
Or just
memory. Right.
recapture that feeling. Like, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, how like magazines are sort of that for me. Like, I used to
Mm.
love magazines when I was like a tween and a teenager. Like, I lived for, and I still do. And it's a rare thing to have an occasion to buy a magazine. It's really only when I travel and I like love it. But anyways, then we do the Bryn hand job where all the men put their hands on the knife and they stab the
My
cake.
god, it was so,
Honestly,
random and unnecessary, and,
and
like, why was it even included? It was boring.
it was
That's
weird. I
yeah,
did love
yeah.
Jessel's confessional when she said if Bryn could be slapped by 1,000 dicks on her birthday, that would be her dream.
It was
I was like,
amazing.
yes. And I think
Yes.
it's true. It's not even like there's nothing
She'd
to be
be
offended about
laughing.
there. I think it's quite
Totally.
true.
As long as it was consensual, yeah, she would be like, "This is great." Yeah, that was hilarious.
And
Mhm.
then this is where I have to look into what it is, but she really gets under my skin. I hate this kind of person. She's sitting down with Jessel and Erin, and Sai, with a mouthful of cake, goes like, "Let's just get over it. You make me sick, and sometimes I don't like you." I hate people like that. Say you're
Yeah.
sorry, be decent. Don't just be like, "Just get over it, you loser." Like, sometimes I hate you. It's like, that's in terms of what Jenna's saying before about like a safe place to land. That ain't it.
Mm-mm.
That's like a weird, mean way to try and bypass an apology, and I don't care for it.
It is the easy way out. Just dust it, like throw all the dust under the rug and let's just start fresh. That's what Tamara does on Orange
Mhm.
County. Let's just move forward. And that means that you don't have to do the hard work of breaking down how your behavior may have hurt somebody else and then go even underneath that and say, "Oh my gosh, if my behavior is hurting someone else, like what is underneath the behavior that is serving me?" So it's a cop out and it's lazy
And it won't it
and it's
it's
unrealistic. Doesn't work.
and you won't change your behavior, like, that's the problem. It's just saying, like, yeah, it's moving past something means you are destined to repeat it. If you don't look at it, it's that whole thing about the difference between an apology and an amends. Apology is words, amends is behavior. Like, you can say anything you want, but
Exactly.
if you don't change your
Exactly.
behavior, nothing changes.
Mm-mm.
And then, of course,
Ugh.
just as we
And
thought the
then we get
episode
to
was
the
over, we get Bryn
wow.
screaming out, "Ubah, I heard you got a man in Connecticut." And then Sai, this again, I just can't stand Sai. It's Sai's fault that this happened at all. And for her to scream at Bryn, that's fucked up. I didn't say it on camera. It doesn't matter if you said it on or
It
off
doesn't
camera.
matter.
You told Ubah you wouldn't tell anybody, and you told people, and you hinted at it on camera. You mentioned it on camera. So that's not fair. And I didn't understand why Ubah blamed Bryn, but I guess I also don't understand why the state of Connecticut is that important. But it must be meaningful in some way to keep that secret. And Bryn is right to say that Sai brought it up on camera first. And Sai's on her high horse saying, "That's someone's personal business. It's her story to tell."
It
Okay,
was
but you
wild.
told it. You
Exactly.
took him to lunch and told him. Like, what is going
Exactly.
on? And that's when Sai
Yeah.
goes, "I want nothing to do with Bryn." And that's it. It's over. So their deep friendship that only the two of them can understand, that's so special that she announced at the beginning of the episode, is now over. Bryn said the name of the state, and Sai will never speak to her again. And I was like, oh my God, Sai, you are broken.
This was just such a mental gymnastics exercise. I was shocked at the disconnect. I was shocked. She says that she feels bad the minute it comes out of her mouth when she tells Erin at the costume shop. And I can only, again, projecting, when you have that piece of gossip or when you have that piece of knowledge and you're with people that you're bonding with, and it's like that need to be accepted and loved by the people you're with. And if it means that you need to share something that someone has told you in confidence and specifically set a boundary, do not say anything, and you choose to say it instead of say it for that short term gratification, that instant gratification of being the one to share it with Bryn and Aaron versus the long term gratification of being able to go to bed that night, your head on the pillow, knowing that you kept Ubah's secret, you kept Ubah's private life to yourself. And I am so grateful to not feel motivated to do that shit no mo, because it's not a way to be a friend.
No, Sai just feels out of control to me. She's just screaming at everyone, and she needs to look at herself. She should just take a deep breath and say, like, I should never have shared this. It's coming back to bite me in the ass. I'm so sorry, Uba.
Yeah.
But instead, she's yelling at everyone. And she did say, I feel like I let Uba down and Bryn let me down. And like, that's fair. But you don't get to cut Bryn out of your life. That's your fault.
No.
You now know that you can't trust Bryn. So just that's all that is. You don't have to kill her. She just, and I
Yeah, that
loved
was
Uba for
like,
saying she's going to blame the alcohol, then don't drink. And I was like, yes,
then
Uba.
don't drink. And also, that was like full five fingers, like four fingers pointing back at you. Like, don't get mad at fucking Bryn. Don't project it on Bryn. You were the only one that knew this information. You spread the information.
Yeah.
You're patient zero.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
then somehow we get a weird moment where Bryn somehow tries to put it on Jessel by saying, you didn't stick up for yourself and do whatever. And I was like, what? How is
Oh my
Jessel? How is
God.
she becoming a part of this? And bless Jessel, she just walked away. She was like, okay, bye. So the party clears out and we move into our little updates on everybody, unless you had anything
Uh,
else on the party.
which update do you think triggered me to the point where I was going to just like my head was going to blow up?
They all got me a little bit, but I'm wondering if it's Erin's mezcal
Oh,
line.
yeah, it is. It
I was
is.
like, "Oh dear,
It
if
is.
she's appropriating
It
and
is.
just yeah."
It is.
And
It
also,
was.
why? I get again, just there's no you don't care about tequila, Erin.
You don't
Nothing
care
about
about.
you. Like, I like Uba
Ugh.
because Uba's Uba hot. She loves hot sauce, like, it's something authentic to her, fine. But why is Erin doing tequila? Because everyone else is and it's
I
cool?
don't know.
I hate
The last
you.
thing we need in this fucking country is another goddamn tequila or mezcal line started by white people.
We've got Kendall Jenner on the market.
Kendall
We're
Jenner,
we're it's fine.
Vita, Vita
Vita
tequila.
tequila.
Vita. Yeah, and fucking now we have mezcal by Erin. I just
I am not interested in trying it,
oh,
and
fuck no.
I
Hell
yeah.
no. No.
Yeah, I
Mm-mm.
mean, the updates weren't very interesting. It was just sort
They
of
were not interesting at all. It
no,
was
and that was sort of a bummer as the season ends. It just felt like, it went out with a whimper, kind of.
it did.
It's just like, "Oh, okay."
It didn't have me, then it had me, then it didn't have me. That's how I describe that season, and
I
I
do like
wonder
that
what's gonna happen for
Uba's
next year.
I like
Mhm.
that Ubah's introduced her man to everybody now because I feel
Yeah.
like if they come back for another season, this group, maybe we'll get to see Ubah's
Mhm.
romantic life take off.
Mhm.
But the rest of them, Ubah's the only one I like, and Jessel, I'd be curious to see more of. But the rest of them, Sai, Aaron, Jenna, and Bryn too. I don't know. They feel a little one dimensional for me, and I'm a little bit. I don't know what a second season looks like, but I will obviously watch it. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I do think that I think that unlike the Orange County reunion, and again, this could be fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I could be shaming myself right now with saying that I'm looking forward to the reunion for this show because it
That's
feels
true.
like there's stuff to talk about, but again, more will be revealed. We'll see.
No, that's totally true. Because 'cause you're right, they showed the little preview of the reunion and everyone cried, and to me,
Mhm.
there's something worthwhile in that, if everyone but it's true because
I know what you're
it was
saying,
sort
I
of an
know what you're
emotionless
saying.
ending, everyone just, like, left the party kind of mad, and so I'm glad that the reunion, it looks like there's yeah,
Yeah, because maybe it'll lead to revelations or realizations about themselves as individuals or maybe taking personal accountability. Again, I cannot set myself up for disappointment, so I'm just going to leave
right.
it as more will be revealed. We'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's going to be let go from this cast. I mean, people are
I
talking
doubt
about
it,
Psy left and right on Reddit.
but they need her, you know what I mean? She's,
It
like,
feels
a
like it.
needed a needed piece of drama in this crew.
Yeah.
And again, I can't say enough how cute her children are. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to see more of her like family life. And I do like David now, so I don't
I
know. I don't
do.
know what to make of anything.
If Abe and Aaron didn't come back, I'd be fine.
Yes, she added
Like,
nothing in my
she really
opinion.
didn't add anything but annoyance to
Yeah.
me. She seems so blah, like, even her reunion dress, I'm like, "This is so
Oh God.
boring." It was so boring, and it feels like the other ones are New Yorkers, at least. It just feels like Aaron I don't know, I'm sure there's basics everywhere, and I'm sure there's basics in New York, like, obviously, like, a ton of fucking people from the Bachelor franchise moved to New York after they're off the show to go follow their influencer dreams. And yes, that does mean that I'm calling contestants on that show basics. Not all, but a lot. My point is, Erin is nothing special to me. There's nothing special or intriguing about her. Just like with Dorit, there's nothing special or intriguing about Dorit. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. We will see. I mean, at least
We'll see.
Dorit has like her weird accent and she's a child of the world. I mean, to her level of delusion is so delicious and crazy.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Erin is truly just basic. She's like a New York lady who like does New York lady things and has a husband that,
And
what I don't know.
just
It's just yeah, she's a snooze.
so there you go. New
There's
York wrapped
that.
up.
What else
Mhm.
did you watch this week?
I watched Bachelor in Paradise. I watched episode 2 of The Golden Bachelor. I haven't watched episode 3 yet. Definitely watched Salt Lake City. Oh, wait, we already talked about that. We just spoke on last Thursday,
Oh
so I don't
yeah,
really.
there hasn't been
Oh,
that
we
much
watched Saturday Night
time.
Live
Yeah.
on Saturday night. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh yeah.
We watched Saturday Night Live. I don't know. This is probably because I'm a child of an alcoholic, but I'm always rooting for Pete Davidson. Oh God, I know that
I know,
that's
god damn it. Isn't that fucked up? Me too.
I'm rooting for that kid. I really am. He's not
But
even a
he
kid
also,
anymore.
I mean, but I know when he said he's like about to turn 30, I was like, "Oh
Yeah,
my god."
yeah. But I
Which
feel
is
like he's
amazing.
just
It's miraculous because Lord
it
knows he
is
has battled mental health
completely, and he's never
problems, the kind
shied
that kill
away from it.
people.
Like
No.
he talks about it, which is I think why I'm rooting for him. He's like he's got it all laid out there. I mean, we see his slaw shit out there. We see his addict stuff out there, and
I mean, I
um,
loved that, the Barbie parody. I fell asleep through lots of it, but there was, like, the "I'm just Pete" parody,
mhm.
I thought was really, really well done. I thought that was really funny.
I haven't seen
Anyways,
Barbie yet. I haven't seen it.
it doesn't matter.
I
It's just
haven't seen
I
it.
mean,
I feel like I'm the only one in the country that hasn't seen it.
oh, you know what? I didn't see The Godfather until, like, 5 years ago, so it's
The
fine.
Godfather came out literally, like, in
I
19
know,
fucking
but it's one of those
72. There
movies
was
that I stopped telling people I hadn't seen it because every time it was like, "You haven't seen it?" Ugh," and I was just like, "Oh my god." And then I finally saw it and I was like, "Good, good movie,
I hear
very
what you're saying.
young versions of actors I now know," and okay. It's hard because I watched The Sopranos and stuff, whatever. Whatever. Anyways, Barbie's great, and it's also fine if you never see it.
How about
Yeah.
you?
I got sick, and so one of
Oh, yeah.
my most soothing things to watch when I get sick are cooking shows, and there's a new
Oh,
season of The Great British Bake Off, so I watched, like, 4 episodes of that, and it does exactly what you want it to do. Those people are so nice. They're so earnest. Have you ever watched that show?
I have, and I
Yeah.
just I can't it's not that I can't watch it, it's just it makes me I just want cake and, like, inch thick frosting, and
Yeah.
it's hard for me to pay attention to something other than just, like, the edibles, and I then feel like I need to look on DoorDash and say, "Who's delivering cake at 10 o'clock at night?" And so I would love to be able to watch it and not feel so invested in and taken out by the food.
I hear that.
Mhm.
And the deeper you get into it, the grosser British baked goods become. So everything gets like way less attractive. A few seasons ago, they had like a gelée competition or episode. Uh-huh, exactly.
No,
So you can really
that doesn't
focus on
sound
the
good.
people when something like that is being served up. But anyways,
Yeah.
I watched that and I don't remember if I watched anything else. I was in a bit of a brain fog, but
Ugh,
you know, I love I love TV.
I love TV.
I did watch Saturday Night Live as much as I could, and I have to look into this. I don't understand how that is happening. Those are SAG actors. I'm very confused. They must have gotten a waiver, but, like, I'm not pleased about
Um,
it. The strike will never end if we continue to,
yeah,
like, put stuff on
there
TV.
someone on Reddit explained how they were able to get away with it. Not
I'm
get away
sure it
with it,
has to
but
do with,
how they
like,
were able to
variety performers or something,
probably, yes, I think
but
so.
it bummed me out.
Yeah,
I was like, "Lord Michaels, can you please
I
just, like"
know,
'cause,
I know,
talks the studios walked away again
I know,
last week, and I'm
Marty.
like, "Dude,
Oh
if you put SNL
god.
on, they're not gonna come back." Like,
I
please. They'll
know.
figure it out. I mean, they have to, but I was just confused. Antidepressants?
Yes, I am we are getting ready to go to San Diego this week to memorialize my husband's very best friend slash soulmate, I would argue, one of his soulmates. And I am very glad that we will be seeing loved ones, some of which I just saw in New Orleans, and some I haven't seen in a long time. It's bittersweet. I think the antidepressant in this is that I have been trying to work extra hard to be trying to work out of altruism, like my husband's having a really hard time right now. He's he's really sad and he's really stressed about the logistics, and I just want to make life as easy as possible for him right now because I can't imagine what he's going through, and I literally cannot imagine what he's going through. I'm sad, but yeah, just being altruistic, like finding ways to really show up for him versus just being like, "Oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing this." Like, well, I don't know, sleep in the car on the way there, but you gotta show up right now. And yeah, how about you?
My antidepressant my niece was visiting last weekend, and I love her so much. She's the most fun to hang out with in the whole wide world. And anytime someone comes to visit, I'm reminded like how awesome Los Angeles is. We went to this museum called the Mr. Brainwash Museum, and he's this like graffiti artist. Have you
Oh,
heard of
yeah,
him?
yeah. Mhm. Of
It's
course.
so
Mhm.
cool. He like takes all of these existing paintings and like draws superheroes into, the Edward Hopper counter scene. Or there was like a painting of all these, like some like Renaissance scene, and he painted clown noses onto all the people. It's just like ridiculous. And a lot of his stuff is like huge scale, like,
Mhm.
he painted a car and there's pianos everywhere. Like the museum is absolutely bonkers and I could have stayed in it for days. It is so fascinating and brilliant and amazing. And yeah, I just sort of had like a Los Angeles Renaissance. I took her to the Huntington Gardens and
Oh,
it's
I
so
love those.
freaking gorgeous there. They have a
Mhm.
new painting, they have Blue Boy, that old painting of like a rich white boy. It's
Yes.
not, if you weren't raised in Pasadena, you probably don't know
No,
about it, but
I'm pretty sure I know that painting that you're talking about, yeah.
they commissioned a modern Blue Boy and they had it's the the modern Blue Boy is standing in the same position, which we come to understand like denotes wealth, but he's a black boy and he's like it's painted either by the same artist or in the same way that the Obama's portraits were painted. So it's like
Mhm,
incredibly
mhm.
bright and colorful and modern and beautiful. And it stands on the opposite end of the gallery as regular old white blue boy. So it's just this look at like, and there are no other people of color in this gallery. Like we are talking about an era where that
Yeah.
was just nobody took time to paint a portrait of anyone who wasn't rich and white. And it's really just like kind of a dramatic, beautiful, brilliant answer to, and I applaud conservative Pasadena Huntington Gardens for like getting on it and like commissioning something like that. And I think they're doing Blue Boy has a counterpart named Pinky. I think they're working on her version of that now. And when I was raised there, it just did not feel like inclusive in any way, shape, or form.
Totally.
So I'm happy to see that there's some interest in moving exposure forward in a kind of stodgy, staid old museum.
Mhm. Mhm. I love
And we
that.
we went with I took Clara, my niece, and my mom, and there's outside in the Chinese gardens, there's a little structure called the Pavilion of Three Friends, and we took a picture
Mhm.
in that, and it was so sweet. Anyways, Los Angeles is great. Come visit.
It
If you
really
haven't been
is.
here, there's tons to see and do, and I had a lovely week of doing that. The Mr. Brainwash Museum, Huntington Museum and Gardens. I saw Eddie Izzard perform a retrospective of 30 years of their work, and it was amazing.
Oh my god. If you come to LA, just don't bother with Hollywood Boulevard unless you wanna go to a taping of the Jimmy Kimmel Show. There is absolutely no reason for you to go there. I guess if you wanna see the stars on the ground, but I would even say that I don't know. They're just stars on the ground, or
And they're
there's the
covered in,
handprints.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, stomped
they're
out
covered in
cigarettes and
gum and dog shit and human urine. It's just not it's not necessary.
it's disappointing.
100%
Yeah.
don't. Gross. Yeah. That's why like whenever people come to San Francisco and they go to Union Square downtown. I mean, listen, I don't give a shit what people do when they fucking come to San Francisco, but I'm like, listen, y'all, this is just a big fucking mall in some old buildings, so have fun, I guess. Anyway, everyone, I want to thank you so much for bearing with us while we changed the schedule so many times in the last 3 weeks. The travel should be chilling out after this. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to be ramping into the holidays then. But we are going to be starting with Beverly Hills, which I believe debuts next Wednesday, October 25. And I'm really excited. I feel like it's going to be a good season, TBD. Thank you for being patient and rolling with the schedule changes. It's appreciated. Don't forget to email us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose. And please rate, review, subscribe.
And everybody take good care of yourselves, and we will speak next week.
Yeah, everyone
Yay.
take really good care of yourselves. I'm going to just commit right now that I'm going to take 10 deep breaths when we stop recording today. Things feel weird.
Yeah,
And this too shall pass. So,
I know.
friend, great to see you. Listeners,
Love
thank you
you.
so much. Everyone, have a lovely week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.